All right. Hello, everybody. So it's kind of a spur of the moment live stream, but we got some pretty groundbreaking news regarding us here in Virginia, but I think for the most part, the country as a whole. So that's what we're going to talk about today, real quick. So the news came out. I'm going to pull up my email real quick so I can relay the information directly to you. For the state of Virginia, the USDA is no longer going to be the governing body of our grower program, and that Virginia is retaking over the grower program. So they got rid of it during September. They said at the end of October it was going to go away. You had to get a federal permit. We got fingerprinted. We did everything we needed to do to get the federal permit. And today, 10 days before the program was set to end, they have renewed the program. So let me explain to you why I'm not thrilled about this decision from the state of Virginia. And I think I might be alone on an island with this, although I've seen one other grower kind of say something about it on Instagram. Essentially, they've kicked the can down the road. No, so if you've gotten the email, if you're a Virginia grower, if you're not, the reason why this happened is because in Washington, D.C., there was a continuing resolution, which means that they fill the budget with some sort of budget gap replacement. They don't actually set a budget, they just continue the old one on old funding. And that in turn gave Virginia the money to rego their 2014 Farm Bill program. Now this funding is not as good as last year. So, from my understanding, I'm going to read you the email. So, for the 2021 grow season, per Virginia VDACS, you are able to continue growing until September 30th, 2021. The VDACS has advised the U.S. Department of Agriculture that they will continue operating under the 2014 Farm Bill through this date. So if you read that on its surface, it's great, but it's kicking the can down the road. It puts us right back in the same situation a year from now. Actually, less than a year from now, we're in the same situation. So they literally played volleyball with hemp farmers. Now that's just the state of Virginia, but New York, Mississippi, everybody else that followed suit with us, this is probably going to happen to you too, unless those states to say, nope, we're done with it, we're moving on. A lot of states probably won't do that. They will go back to their Farm Bill pilot programs or whatever they had set up prior to the USDA interim rules and regs. If you guys have questions, also leave them in the live chat. I'll try to get to them. I just want to give you my spiel and my take on why I don't think this is such a great thing for hemp farmers. I see Bryce, the news made him happy. And there's a lot of hemp farmers that are going to be happy with this. I'm somewhat happy in the sense of we're not going to have to go change anything really for 2021. But now I'm going to tell you why I'm not too thrilled about it. So when Virginia came around and a lot of other states followed suit saying, no more hemp program, we're going with the USDA. We did everything we needed to do. And I even have an email from the USDA saying, hey, look, we've got your email. You're pre-qualified. We'll be in touch with you. I think it was this upcoming week. So the week of the 20th to the 28th, I think they said they would be in contact. We would get an email regarding our permit. So that kind of laid out everything for 2021, right? I mean, okay, Virginia's program is ending. We're transitioning to the federal program. We know the rules that come with the federal program. So we're going to start the season of 2021 with the same rules at the end of the season. Why I don't like this is because they're telling you when you put your plants in the ground in May or June or whatever you put your plants in the ground, the rules will change right before harvest. Something's going to happen either before September 30th or after September 30th, right smack in the beginning of harvest season. So this year, those rules potentially wouldn't change until October 30th. Now we know they're not going to change. They've sent the emails out 10 days before that's going to happen. Imagine this next year, 2021, 10 days before September 30th, they changed the rules for October. We don't know what that rule change will be. You have no idea. You could spend your entire summer growing a plant not knowing how the harvest is going to go. You have no idea what rules, you have no idea what regulations, you have no idea if there's going to be a time frame of which you have to harvest. See, with the USDA, you knew you had 15 days. That's it. So when you plant your plants, that's what you go by. This leaves the door wide open for a whole new set of rules, a whole new game change right before you're about to harvest, right before the hardest part of your grow. That's why I don't like this. I think this is a kick the can down the road situation. I think Virginia is doing what every other state would do, is they're going to reignite their hemp pilot program. They're going to go back under the 14 Farm Bill. But overall, for the farmer, this is nothing but a headache, because you're going to start the season with a set of rules that may not be at the end of the season. So I want to hear your thoughts on it. If you grow in Virginia, if you grow in another state, I've heard a lot from other farmers in other states that are going through some issues themselves, whether it be state testing, how the state tests. Luckily, here in Virginia, the one good thing about our 2014 Farm Bill is it's a risk-based assessment for testing. So you're at a pool and you get randomly selected to be tested as a grower. We were not randomly selected this year or last, but we always do a field test of our plants on the day we submit. So we always say, hey, we're going to start harvesting September 20th. So that's when we would expect them to show up. And this year we tested all of our plants in the field right around that same day. So that's something I continue to practice and will do later this year, or going into 2021. But just so you guys are aware, if you grow in 2021, it's going to change at the end of the year. But let me get to some questions here. Our change tool now we have testing instead of sending our tests themselves. Yeah, so that's part of the USDA program, RJ. They're supposed to come out and do the testing. So they must have adopted some of the rules from the interim rules. So October before I took any plant out of the ground. Yeah, a lot of states require you to have testing prior to any plant being harvested. Virginia is not like that. They do require us to have a harvest plan, a propagation report, and a lot of other things, but they do not require us to have a test prior to harvest. So you give and take, I guess, a little bit. But overall, I'm not happy with this decision. I think the hemp farmers are being played back and forth. And for Virginia especially, 2021's an election year. So not only are we getting volleyballed this election year, we're going to be volleyballed next election year. We're going to be back and forth, back and forth. I'm sure this is going to be a topic because it's farming. I mean, it usually shows up in an election year. So it's just another headache. I don't really think this is good for anybody. I know a lot of people are initially happy. I'm happy for the fact that I don't have to worry about having my mother plants. Look, we were pre-approved for the USDA permit, but that didn't really mean we were going to get it. We would be finding out this week. The elimination of going into that and the reignation of the Virginia program allows us to keep our mother plants through the winter, no problems. That part is great. I do like that our permit is worth what we paid for it, that it goes through the whole year. We can have our plants. What I'm worried about is having a similar situation unfold again. This will be the third year in a row they had tried to change the rules during harvest. That's the part I don't like about this. I wish they would just solve the problem. Enough. It's been 3 years. This will now be 3 years that they have not solved the problem. And the problem is the same thing. It's Delta 9 versus total, and it's how long you have to harvest when that test occurs, like when they go out, they test a plant. These are simple things that they should be able to either compromise with farmers with or just implement like they did under the USDA program. They just need to stick by a set of rules for at least one damn season because it's getting kind of old. And I think a lot of people are kind of fed up and fatigued with this constant rule change in harvest season. It's not like they're doing it in June or July when there's not much going on. They're doing it the beginning, middle, or end of harvest season for the last 3 years because we know we have the date, September 30th, 2021. We started our harvest in 2020 on September 20th. That was when we cut our first plant. So it's not a great situation. I know a lot of people are happy about it, but it's happy now, but you're going to be in a limbo come the fall of 2021. It sure would make our lives easier, Tyler. Yeah, I mean, it would. It would make our lives easier if they would just stick to one plan. RJ, you say you like the 1%. Yeah, if they're going to go with total, I think a lot of people are in agreement. If you're going to go with the total, go with 1%. Delta 9 at 0.3 is perfectly manageable. I think anybody and everybody can say we can manage with a 0.3 Delta 9. I mean, I've never heard anybody really complain about Delta 9 being at 0.3. Everybody gets really upset about the 0.3 total because it does. You can't let the plant go full term. You have to only have certain varieties. Certain varieties spike in the last 2 weeks. You got to cut them early. Like our variety auto sweetened. I mean, I could leave that thing out there until November, and it probably won't go above 0.3 total. It's just a great compliant strain, but you can't do that with Biox. You can't do that with Cherry One. And there's a lot of those strains you can't do that with. Auto sweetened is just one of those strains that it really is compliant with those rules, but a lot of strains are not, and it just makes a pain in the butt. But yeah, 1% total would be great. Our lives would be easier if they would just make a decision. This again, 3 years, folks. If you started growing in 2020, welcome to the party, because here you go. You get your first full dose of being kicked the can down the road by the government. I mean, it's frustrating. 3 years in a row. It's just frustrating. Make the limit like 7%. Well, at 7%, you're talking a completely different ballgame. Not that I disagree with that, but in the regards to hemp, I would say 1% for the CBD industry would be fantastic. I think a lot of people could get behind 1% total. I think the industry would be happy. I think farmers would be happy, and none of us would have to worry about going to jail. Because I think 1% is completely manageable. I've never had a plant go over 1%. So definitely, I'm fully behind the 1% movement. But I don't know if it's going to happen. I know that the USDA is listening. Whether they do anything about it, I don't know. They're clearly not doing anything about it now. They're just saying, "Oh, well, we'll just put it off till next year," which is about par for the course. Which is what Virginia did last year when the interim rules came out. It's tough. What about go full term and letting it ride the wave, rise and fall of the CBD levels? Well, yeah, you can let the plant go full term. You just have to worry about that. You just have to worry about your cannabinoids, where they're going to fall, and you didn't know that genetic. And with these stricter total looking for these numbers, you're definitely running the risk of having a hot plant, letting it go full term. It's just that's the reality of growing the hemp plants. 7% gets grandma high. Yeah, and I mean CBD is a widespread commodity. It's not like a tobacco product or anything. Like a lot of people take these as Advil and go to work. Like that's what CBD is. So the 7% would be a little tough to work with. I'm all for the 1%. A lot of it cooks off. A lot of it has zero effect. I mean, to me, it has zero effect. A 1% strain doesn't affect anybody. Same as I think. Yeah, I mean, a 1-to-1 strain. A lot of people like those. It's over the counter, different day, different discussion. And that's the other thing with Virginia in particular for us. I know Arizona has actually got it on the ballot this year, but for Virginia, there's huge talks up in Richmond about full legalization. So that also changes everything for 2021. If they do pass it, which all signs are pointing to that something's going to get passed in January of 2021, are we going to have a home grow? Can you home grow if you have hemp? Can you home grow if you're under the USDA program? Because remember, those two plants are defined completely differently in the federal government's eyes. So even though the state may decriminalize it, and after September 30th, if you're home growing, let's say they legalize it, let's say it happens, you're allowed 6 plants like a lot of other states. Can you even participate in the USDA hemp program? These are questions that I have now that program is set to end. So the hemp program has been extended to September 30th. But what if Virginia legalizes and you do a home grow and then the USDA shows up? I mean, it's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. Now it's a hypothetical. We don't know if Virginia's going to allow home grow. We don't know if it's actually going to pass. But a lot of signs are pointing to Virginia's going to do it. And given the state of the economy and how much they want the revenue, I would say that I would give Virginia an 80% chance of full legalization in January 2021. It probably wouldn't take effect till I think usually they do it in July, but it was definitely something I see happening. Oh, there's 12 or less. We have it. So wooden fence. That must. RJ, is that Vermont? I think Vermont allows home grow. It's got to have the fence. Every state is a little different. I'm just very familiar with Vermont's standard. It's Michigan. Okay, so Michigan, there's a prime example. I'm actually kind of curious how they do the hemp versus the THC stuff. Like, do they have to be separated and they have to do this? But is Michigan the regulating body? So if this in fact doesn't get renewed in September 30th and it falls back under the USDA, is that the governing body? Because if it's decriminalized in the state but not at the federal level at that point, you run a huge problem because they're not going to care if that's your home grow and that's your field. What if they go and test that one? Just a thought. So we're in for a mess in 2021 by the looks of it. It just seems like it's a never-ending, kick the can game. They just keep kicking it down the road and leaving everybody to guess. Everybody's in the dark. Every year you start your grow, you have no idea where you're going to finish. And that's where we are this year. Now we know. Great. We're 20 days into October. Everybody's pretty much wrapping up their harvest, and the rules have changed now. And they were supposed to change when they told us in September to another regulating body. So, again, frustration. I know a lot of people are happy about this rule change, but I just don't. I can't get behind it. I really can't. But it is what it is. That's the breaking news. If you guys have questions, feel free to leave them in the live stream, and I'll get to you guys. But overall, since I'm here and we're doing a live stream, this is pretty tough for me to get away with on a weekday, especially. I'll give you guys an update of what's going on here at the farm and what the rule change means for us. It really doesn't mean much in the sense of 2021. We were going to keep our mother plants. We just didn't know what the gray area was with keeping our mother plants. But now we know they're safe. They're in the grow tent. They're happy. There's the growing in 2021 and the harvest in 2021, but let's focus in on 2020. Our harvest went really, really well, not knowing what was going to come at the end of October. So now there's really no gray area for another 365 days. We have a pretty good idea of how everything's going to go. It'll be status quo for us in our harvest. We're done with the field. We cut down half the plants today because we didn't know if we were going to have the ability to even carry any plants over to November. Not that we really do anything with them, but sometimes they turn purple. It's kind of cool, good pictures. But we're done with our main harvest. Right now, we're just picking and choosing some flowers. This week's video will be on kind of how to get every last bit of harvest out of your plant. And you'll see that in the video of what we were doing today and what we'll be doing later this week in regards to the harvest. But as far as everything goes, we're pretty much done. We're going to roll into November and start doing the retail side of things, which is probably the hardest part of being a hemp farmer. But we'll talk about that later stuff in other videos. But that's what we're up to here on the farm. But that is the late breaking news, folks. It is what it is. And I wish I had great news like everything was going to be fine for a couple of years, but I don't have that. But that is really all I have for you guys today. It's going to be a short live stream because it is a Tuesday at almost 8 o'clock, and I got to go to work tomorrow, and a lot of things going on. But I just wanted to give you guys that update. You guys can always comment on this live stream after it's posted. If you guys have questions, leave them in the comments section. Even after the video is posted, I can always try to get to you guys. I've been super busy, but things are starting to slow down here on the farm, which is great. I'm really excited to get kind of slowed down. The winter time is the best time to be a hemp farmer. It really is just trimming buds, relaxing, and talking about the yesteryears of growing and getting ready for the next grow. And we'll be maintaining our mother plants all winter long. But thank you for stopping by, guys. Thank you, RJ, for your questions and your input. And I do appreciate everybody who stopped by to check out the video. But like I said, it was going to be a quick one. Again, guys, I hope you have a great evening. Look forward to the video on Friday, and I will catch you guys later. You guys have a great night. Bye.